Craving the perfect holiday snack? Check out Farmer Bill's Biltong. Think beef jerky, but better. No sugar, no preservatives, just pure animal protein goodness. Crafted from premium grass-fed beef or bison and air-dried to perfection, Farmer Bill's Biltong is nutrient-packed, energy-dense, and perfect for an on-the-go treat or a standout snack for your next party. My favorite is the original bison, but the other flavors like the original beef, smokehouse, and spicy chili had me second-guessing that choice more than once. Visit FarmerBillsProvisions.com to grab a 1-pound slab or a variety pack and use code BIZBIT10 for 10% off. Farmer Bill's Biltong, don't be the 2-liter guy at this year's Christmas party.
But I think we found something in stealing sats and sats for stats, which globally will be implemented and become the norm for fans to engage with players into the future. It's sports has been changed forever, and it's pretty cool that Bitcoin will be at the forefront of that, and that fans can engage now with players like they've never had the opportunity to do previously.
Welcome to the Business Bitcoinization Show, the show dedicated to helping you enrich your life and grow your business with Bitcoin, the hardest money on planet Earth. I'm your host, Josh Friedeman, and our guest today is Stephen Nelkovski, who's the CEO of the Perth Heat baseball team, the first team in world sport to operate on a Bitcoin standard. Now, this is not our first conversation with Stephen. We had a conversation earlier last year before they'd had a full season using Bitcoin. Now, they've just finished up that season, and we're talking to him about his thoughts on it today. But before we get to that conversation, we do have this week's Bitcoin Meetup Spotlight, and this week it's Mass Adoption Bitcoin. Mass Adoption is a Bitcoin meetup focused on creating circular economies in the New England area. They host a monthly meetup in the greater Boston area, usually featuring Bitcoin speakers including Greg Foss, Jason Lowry, and BJ Dichter, to name a few past guests. They're excited to host a Mass Adoption Freedom Festival over the summer where people will be able to use Bitcoin to buy merchandise, food at food trucks, and more. You can find them on Twitter at BTC_mass or at massadoption.net. Now, if you want to find a Bitcoin meetup in your area, I encourage you to download the Oshi app that will help you to do just that. Now, we're going to get to our interview with Stephen right after this. Business owners, unlock the benefits Bitcoin has to offer your business with the Bitcoin for Business Quick Start Guide. This 27-page guide highlights the 6 ways you can grow your business with Bitcoin. Check it out in the show notes. Stephen, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be on. Thanks for having us.
So I am looking forward to hearing from you today. For listeners who've not been listening for too long to this podcast, this is interview number 2 for us, and we're going to be digging into what the Perth Heat have been up to. And before that, of course, we have our initial questions to get to know you a little bit better. The first question, anytime I have someone on for a second conversation, the first question is a little bit different. And I just want to ask you, what is the part of the Bitcoin rabbit hole that's been most interesting to you recently?
Yeah, this is an easy one. Lightning. What we've been able to implement with Lightning this season has been incredible, exciting. Integrates in so many parts of the way we now engage with fans and what we do with broadcast. It really has opened up a whole new era of opportunity for us, and has changed sport forever. So Lightning is incredibly powerful and exciting.
What's an insight or fact about Bitcoin that you wish everyone understood?
A lot. Looking at how some of our fans and members and spectators transacted at the ballpark this season, it's the fact that you don't need to be an owner of a full Bitcoin, say, to partake or to use sats, etc. So there's such a misunderstanding that people need $22,000 US to have Bitcoin, and as we know, that's so far from the truth. So just even some of that initial education that with almost a fraction of a penny that they can get involved and start learning about Bitcoin.
What's the Bitcoin resource that you most recommend to other people?
I don't think it's changed, but the Bitcoin Standard by Safe is still the go-to text. The book I would recommend to anyone if they'd like to understand Bitcoin and start researching. Incredible book, and the one I always refer to people.
Question number 4 is this. Beyond Bitcoin, what is a tool, resource, or an idea that's been helpful to you or your business recently?
Not too much out of Bitcoin that's been of a great use, really. Probably more if it's just going back to Lightning, and did we feel that Lightning was going to have such a strong integration in what we do? And 24 months ago, the answer would have been no. But with what we were able to achieve with stealing Sats and Sats for Stats was quite powerful, and something that we're really looking to develop more and more with how we engage with fans. So while it's part of Bitcoin, it's Lightning's the key component.
And now we have our final arbitrary but insightful question. As a general life principle, is it better to ask why or why not?
Don't have an answer on this one, Josh. I sit in between. Look, there's some times where you have to ask why, and there's some other times where you say why not. I can't swing either way on this one. I thought long and hard about this in the notes that you sent, and I'll sit in between. Sometimes I really like to challenge and say, why, and then other times, depending on what the situation is, why not. So, I appreciate that may not be quite the answer, but probably in between.
Meet Linkster, your premier Bitcoin-focused advisor. Linkster caters to businesses, institutions, family offices, and high-net-worth individuals. They merge your unique financial goals and needs with Linkster's Bitcoin expertise to craft your own sustainable plan to preserve and grow the value of your hard-earned profits and retained earnings. At Linkster, it's not just advice, it's tailored execution. Connect directly with the founder by visiting linkster.com. That's LYNCSTER.com. Linkster. Secure your future with Bitcoin. Today's episode of Business Bitcoinization is proudly brought to you by Velis Commerce, where the future of business technology meets Bitcoin. As we journey through the era of Bitcoin and its transformational impact on businesses, there's one name that stands out: Velis Commerce. Whether you're looking to build a cutting-edge website, a seamless mobile app, or custom software, Velis is your go-to team. They've been diving deep into the world of Bitcoin since 2014, making them one of the most experienced groups for integrating Bitcoin and Lightning payments into a variety of digital platforms. But here's what truly sets them apart. Velis Commerce doesn't just build. They bring a wealth of knowledge to ensure your project's success from day one. Their team understands the nuances of Bitcoin, ensuring that your business stays ahead of the curve. And for all business Bitcoinization listeners out there, Velis Commerce is offering a free consultation to kickstart your project the right way. So if you're ready to future-proof your business in the coming age of hyper-Bitcoinization, head over to veliscommerce.com or reach out on Twitter at veliscommerce. Let's make sure your business thrives in the Bitcoin era. That's perfectly fine. Well, Stephen, I'm excited to hear from you about especially the last season of Perth Heat baseball. Last conversation, you hadn't yet started your first full season with Bitcoin, and if you could just take us through the season. I know that you had a great season, not quite the season you hoped. So if you could just take us through the season, what went well and what didn't, just from the baseball side of things.
Oh, from the baseball side, we're inches away from winning a championship. They're really fine margins. To win championship games, and if you look at the NFL and the Super Bowl, and you ask the Phillies fans, and they'll look back on a call with 60 seconds and how that may have altered their chance of winning the Super Bowl. We won game 1 of the championship series in Perth on the Friday night, then needed one more victory from the final 2 games. In Adelaide, we were pretty poor in game 2. Game 3, we were so close. We had several opportunities to win the baseball game, and a few hits just fouled by inches, and they're the margins. We've had a lot of people say congratulations on the season and reaching the championship game, but we're an organisation that is in the process of winning championships, and second may be great for some, but we want to win regularly. So really disappointing that we weren't able to finish off the season with our 16th Claxton Shield. We saw the development of a lot of players. We had another World Series champion in Josh Reddick come out and play for us. He was he was wonderful and a great person to have in our clubhouse. We currently have 6 players away at the World Baseball Championship, and Team Australia defeated the highly ranked Koreans yesterday. So to see our players competing,
I saw that.
At the highest level is wonderful. So we know our development programs are working well. was great to welcome 5 players from the Tampa Bay Rays this season and see the growth of Junior Caminero, who is now ranked number 5 in the Tampa Bay Rays farm system. So our partnership with Tampa continues to develop and grow, and we'll look to the how we can now integrate that on the commercial side of the business. I think there's some real opportunities for us to, while we've got a really good sporting relationship, to grow other areas of our partnership with Tampa. And it was wonderful to see crowds back at the ballpark this summer after 2 COVID-affected years. So, once the season got going, we saw, great growth and, comfort for fans to be at the ballpark, and record attendances build, throughout the months of, January and February. So that was really pleasing. We're in a really good position to continue to challenge for championships in the next 5 years. I like the look of our roster and where our baseball operations department has it, and then with what we're able to do, integrating Bitcoin and the Bitcoin into the business was really exciting.
So I'm curious, when it comes to next year, as far as strategies, and just continuing to build out the roster, or are there some additional types of strategic moves you're thinking through right now?
I know we always need to get better. So that a large part of our development will be how can we get more players back to the US for continued education, upskilling our management team across baseball operations, and then the analytics of baseball is important as well. So we've had some good discussions with the Tampa Bay Rays as to how we can continue to look at some analytics and implement what they do as an organisation. I think they're leaders with how they manage parts of their roster and use data to make decisions. So the Australian Baseball League is one of the best winter leagues in the world, and for us to continue to be ahead of the curve, we need to implement better technologies into how we develop players and also how we use data. So that'll be a big focus of the off season.
And I probably should already know this, but I'm sort of curious about the relationship between the Perth Heat and the Rays. Are you officially part of their system, or just have a great kind of off-season, on-season relationship with them in particular?
I know we have an agreement where they now for 6 seasons have sent out players. I think it's close to 30 players and about a dozen coaches who have come out to Australia in the last 6 seasons. And a lot of these players have now either played Major League or hit AA, AAA. So they're sending us out quality prospects. It's a relationship which certainly helps the development of the players they're sending out, and also for us, builds out our roster. But for the Heat organisation now, we'd like to look at some commercial opportunities, and I guess see how we can build out what we do with Tampa, not only during the season but during the off season as well. So it's quite exciting, the discussions that we have and what's possible over a 12-month period.
All right, so I want to talk Bitcoin now. I know, the thing that you guys have been talking about for a while is sats for stats. And then also just recently, I've been hearing about stealing sats. And so could you share with us about those, I guess you call them programs or elements of what you're doing, and just in general, some of your thoughts about finally getting a chance to give Bitcoin a try for the Perth Heat for like an entire season?
Yeah, well, it was just incredible. When we launched our Bitcoin strategy, Bitcoin was soaring to an all-time high, and I think there was some sections of the public or the community that may have thought that it was some sort of publicity stunt at the time. And as we know, through 2022 we went through a bear market. So some of the comments were, "Well, is this the end of Perth Heat and Bitcoin?" And it was like, why? If anything, it's this is only the beginning. So in a lot of ways, to go through a bear market for the organisation is good because it shows our intent. This was never seen with a short-term lens. It would never work in that capacity. So nice to go through a bear market as an organisation, and for some of those naysayers to understand that this is a long-term project. With what we're able to implement with, firstly, stealing sats, this will change sport forever. We now have the ability in game for fans to engage directly with players and boost or reward performance. This has unlocked the value of every athlete globally. It's quite incredibly just how well this worked, considering even the advancements in technology or what we did to improve some of the friction points, over the course of a 40-game season. How we initially rolled out the program, back in November was different to what we were doing in February, and that's a credit to Ibex and their tech team. And I must thank Rye, CJ, JP, for the work they did in improving Sats for Stats weekly. Were there friction points? Yeah, absolutely, but we're able to overcome those and continually improve how the engagement between fans and players worked. And I've got one of the tweets just up here on my screen, which says, "Great pitching in the 7th, Martinson. Have a beer on me. Sats for Stats, Perth Heat Lighting Network. 21,000 sats sent, via Baz's wallet of Satoshi, and then post game Jordan Martinson saying, "Cheers." It's pretty cool, the fact that player performance can now be rewarded by fans, and different players can be boosted live in game. And this cannot be stopped. As much as some people would like to think, well, you need a league to buy into Sats for Stats. It can be done on so many platforms, and engagement can be done on different platforms. And whether it's a league buying in or a team buying in, what we've seen with the numbers is that we're effectively, I think there's a 2% take up of the players' wage in a week being boosted, and that's significant. This was certainly not a play to put millions of sats into players' bank accounts within the first game or the first play. It was about testing the technology. Does it work? Yes, it did. Was the engagement there between players and fans? Absolutely. And then seeing how we can continue to grow it. And on the basis of our first season, just remarkable what we saw from fans globally and also the Perth Heat.
Does this happen anytime a player makes a play that is particularly impressive, or do people have the ability to stream sats to whichever player they like whenever they want throughout a game? How does it work from a viewer's perspective as they're watching the game on TV?
Yeah, so two different parts. So with the Sats for Stats, you're watching a Perth Heat game. We've got a QR code up in the top corner of the screen, and depending on who the player is, the QR code will change. So you can scan that QR code and send sats to a player. Then obviously we run it through our socials as well, and we've got the embedded links to players. We've got the QR code. So anytime really during a game, you can stream sats to that player. And then obviously post-game, if you know where the QR codes are on our website or go through our Twitter feed, you can still stream sats to that player. One of the best parts of the adoption or rolling it out was people who were trying to scan their phone onto the QR codes and sending messages back saying it doesn't work. Some people may say, well, that's embarrassing. I say, it's not embarrassing. It's great that we're educating people that you need a Lightning wallet to participate. Then they ask, what's a Lightning wallet?
So I'm wondering, what's the difference between Sats for Stats and stealing sats?
Well, it's in reverse, okay? So Sats for Stats, fans are sending sats to players. Stealing sats was a program we launched later in the season in conjunction with Ibex and Wallace Satoshi, and then Bit Refill came on, and they donated the sats. So when a Perth Heat player either hit a home run or stole a base, there was a QR code that flashed up on screen or via our Twitter feed, and then if you scan that QR code, sats were going back to the fan. So it was I guess a reverse of Sats for Stats. We then had stealing sats. So instead of fans giving sats to players through our partners Bit Refill, we were giving sats back to fans, and they didn't last long. The engagement was red hot, which is great. And you've got to appreciate the different time zones that we're working in between US, Australia, Asia, Europe, etc., that we have fans engaged in the game and then aware of when they need to engage those QR codes to receive the sats back. So I've got a big shout out to Bit Refill, April, Javier, Chris, who put this part of stealing sats together with Ibex and Wallet of Satoshi for a really great continuity of what we did with stealing sats and showing you just how we can engage in different ways with fans and players, through Lightning.
So it sounds like throughout the season, people were getting used to working with Lightning wallets. What was the experience? What was your feedback from fans? Did they, by the end of the season, were they on board, or do you find there's always just people who are trying it out for the first time learning? Because to your point earlier, people were probably thinking at some point, okay, this is a little gimmicky. And now since Bitcoin is falling in USD, Australian dollar price, like, will they get rid of it? No, we're just starting. Like, this is us moving forward. How have the fans responded? How are they feeling after this first season?
Yeah, I go back to the first time we had to educate the contractors who come into the ballpark to work at our concession stands, and the discussion that we need to teach them how to take Bitcoin payments, and the look of fear on some of their faces. It's like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to learn it? I don't know anything about Bitcoin, and the nervousness, and then within a 15-second demonstration, we'd show them how to take Bitcoin payments through our Ibex terminals, and it was like, oh, it's that easy. Yeah, and then by the end of their first shift, they're quite proud that they knew how to accept Bitcoin payments, which effectively were easier than taking credit card payments. What we need to continue to do is find ways of how we can get sats into the hands of fans at the ballpark, and allowing them to use the technologies and to use sats to make purchases. Once you can do that, and they see the ease of use, then they become engaged. So it's in some ways overcoming that obstacle of fear, or the FUD that they may have heard at the coffee machine in the office about Bitcoin, or probably not Bitcoin, about crypto, and the losses that some people are encountering, or the scams that they're encountering, and being comfortable to participate. Once they have that degree of, okay, this is how easy it is. I don't need to know as much as maybe say some of the OGs or something like that. They certainly become more engaged and more comfortable to use. So the big challenge is just getting sats into Lightning wallets for people, and them having a play around with using sats.
From the growth you've seen across this last season, how many seasons would you predict it to take before fans as a whole generally feel comfortable paying for their soda or their hot dog, whatever else might be popular in Australian baseball, at the stadium? Yeah,
good question. So much of it depends on, I guess, global events. Certainly the FTX debacle and the crypto crash doesn't help. Onboarding normies, so to speak. So the less of global events, the better for the education. But in saying that, it also allows us to provide that better education as to the difference between Bitcoin and crypto as well. And that's one of the positives of what happened with FTX and other crypto exchanges, is that this is why Bitcoin and not crypto. So, and they start to understand the differences, and really zoning in on what absolute scarcity means, and that 21 million Bitcoin means 21 million Bitcoin, and there can't be any more produced or manipulated, etc. So maybe we're still a year or two off before there's that level of comfort, or maybe we're still 5 to 10 years away. Do we need to continue to improve our education across the board? Absolutely. That was one of the big takeaways of how we continue to onboard players, because we have so many international players that come to the organisation, and they come to the team a couple of weeks before the season starts. How can we onboard those players with I guess a Bitcoin playbook before they arrive in Australia? So is it at the time of signing agreements that they'll come to play for the Perth Heat that we start that process of education? So we can onboard those players, because the first 2-3 weeks of their arrival in Perth is hectic. They're acclimatising into accommodation, training, and all the parts of preparing themselves to play for the Australian Baseball League season. We need to find how best do we then also educate them on Bitcoin if they're not Bitcoiners, so to speak, or haven't had that education previously. So there's lots to do in that education space and making sure that we can engage those international players at an earlier stage of the year.
What an incredible opportunity, though, to provide them great education that they can see that it works and then take it back to their teams, to their countries, wherever they are. Like, they can be sharing about their experiences. So the more that you lock in this great experience, the more likely they'll be taking it back. And I think it's such a neat thing. And I see your efforts just compounding over time. And to that point, I should have made better note of this in preparation for our conversation today. But I believe I saw someone who was a manager of some football club who was talking about this type of thing. And I saw you comment on it. I don't know the full story there, but have people been reaching out to you? Do you see an interest, a desire for this with other managers or executives of other sports teams?
Yeah, we've been inundated with requests, to the point where we're developing almost a business playbook, for small businesses, and also other sports teams. There's huge interest, and that's not to say that we need more exposure as well to push out what we've done to more sports teams globally, and that's where we, in a lot of ways, need some greater support from the wider Bitcoin community to say look at what this baseball team in Australia is doing, and this is what's possible for other teams and businesses globally. But there's plenty of interest. Obviously, we know what Pete McCormack's doing with Real Bedford. There's recently some interest from a couple of ice hockey teams that have reached out. Which is great. Bitcoin Racing, I think, are doing a wonderful job in taking Bitcoin globally, and more focus needs to be put on their adoption and how they're reaching different markets as well. So the Bitcoin Sports League continues to grow. A real strong desire of mine is it's great what we've been able to do with Perth Heat. How can we now implement part of, and maybe it's stealing sats into the Australian Baseball League next season? That for me is a huge priority. It's great that Perth Heat's involved, but if we can incorporate part of our project now across the league, that's really exciting, and that's a major step forward as well. So that's certainly on the agenda for the next few months, and having those discussions and seeing how can we get the whole competition involved. Maybe it's, as I said, it's only sats for stats or stealing sats for whether it's a series over the course of the season or whether we can do that for the whole season. But that'd be really exciting. And I think once we can get a whole league engaged, then the message will reach out to other teams across the globe pretty quickly. And in saying that, I should say, there has been one of the major competitions in Australia reach out to management about stealing sats. Stealing sats is something that I think will continue to grow across sports leagues. The value of every athlete has been unlocked, and there should be something that should be at the forefront of all players' associations in asking their leagues when and why or why not have we not got this available for our players.
So you're talking about the coming months. I'm curious, when it comes to next season, do you have any plans to implement new strategies, or is it doing the same things but more effectively and better?
Well, everything will always become more effective because the friction points will improve, the technologies will get better. But we want to continue to grow both stealing sats, sats for stats, within Perth Heat, but I'd also love to see it in some format across the ABL, in terms of, do we want to continue to grow new initiatives? Absolutely. We've always said, if you're a Bitcoin company and you've got technology that you like trialed, bring it to us. How can we continue to be a guinea pig for the Bitcoin community and Bitcoin companies to road test products and to see how they can be improved, implemented, etc. Was stealing sats and sats for stats on the roadmap 24 months ago? No, but that's been made possible by the technologies and the improvement of Lightning over the last period of time. So it's the space changes so quickly, but I think we found something in stealing sats and sats for stats, which globally will be implemented and become the norm for fans to engage with players. Into the future. It's sports has been changed forever, and it's pretty cool that Bitcoin will be at the forefront of that, and that fans can engage now with players like they've never had the opportunity to do previously.
That's so exciting to hear. I'm looking forward to continuing to see this grow and continuing to have conversations with you. Do you have any final thoughts, whether it's connected to Perth Heat baseball, Lightning, maybe encouragement for other executives who are trying to implement Bitcoin in their businesses? Just final thoughts, encouragement to share before we finish up this conversation today.
Oh, it's always get started as quickly as you can. The efficiencies that Bitcoin allows within your organisation are quite incredible. We've never looked back since making the decision, and the future is only exciting. With each component that we continue to improve, I think as an organisation we improve as well. So don't be afraid to ask questions, and certainly if you have any questions, we're always open to discussions and helping onboard others as well. We've been incredibly grateful for the support that we've had back from the Bitcoin community. It's a community that continues to reach out and help each other. But even if you look at just how Nostra is advancing at such a rapid pace, in recent weeks and months, the technology is only going to get better, and the quicker you adopt, the better your organisation will be in the long run. So, jump on board. The future is very, very bright.
Excellent. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Cheers, Josh.
Well, friends, it's a wrap. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Business Bitcoinization Show. If you want to reach out to either me or Stephen, you can find our links down in the show notes. And if there's a sports fan in your life who might enjoy this episode, share it with them. As always, keep building, keep growing, and until next time, keep living and leading well. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, thank you. If you want to take a further step in your support for the show, you can help us grow by listening on Fountain, a value-for-value podcast app on iOS or Android. If you hear something you like that you disagree with or anything else, you can share it by sending some sats and adding a comment with your thoughts. Some of you have already done this, and I appreciate it. I'm going to begin reading your boosts on upcoming episodes, so if you have some insight or value to add, let the people know. Getting started with Fountain is easy. You can add Bitcoin to your Fountain wallet by using your fiat accounts or any Lightning wallet. And one of my favorite features is that once you're using the app, you can earn sats just by listening on Fountain. Check out the link in the show notes to get started with Fountain today.